All right, hello and welcome to Pubcast episode 90, the first video and audio Pubcast. So the first one we've had to do fully clothed.
The full AV experience.
It is. We've finally stepped into the
Visual.
distant past.
The visual dimension.
Yeah. Hopefully you're watching this on your computer and not in your car or something. A lot of people listen to the podcast in their car. You know, we don't want them to watch it while they're driving.
Or
that
at
would
work.
Be
Or at work.
Or at work.
Yeah, we get that.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll see how it goes. Joining me, I'm Tristan Ogilvy. Joining me is Luke Riley.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello. This is going well.
Yeah.
And Gem Gold.
I thought we were we're pretending the camera is not there, or
What camera?
Hi. How's
What
it going?
camera? That's just a giant novelty hat. It's just the three of us this week. Cam, Lucy, and Baker absent, but that's okay. It's quality, not quantity. Plenty to talk about this week, but first we have to give a special thanks to friend of the podcast, Sam Lewis, who supplied us with the beverage that we're drinking that is almost certainly not beer. Now, also another plug, before we get into what we've been playing, a plug for the Square Sounds Chip Tune Festival,
Yes.
which is happening at the Evelyn Hotel in Melbourne, March 27th to the 30th.
Tell them the website, Tristan.
I will. I've got it right here. It is, I should explain for those who... most people know what
I'm
chip
sure
tunes
people
are.
listening to this.
People listening to the podcast
Probably.
should know. But yeah, obviously, you know, music sort of inspired by and aligned with video game kind of culture. 19 international musicians and visualists, whatever that means. What's a visualist? I mean, we're visualists now.
We are now.
So we'll be there, obviously, but do you know what a visualist is?
It's probably visuals to go along with the music. Could be my guess.
Nice. So one for the drug takers. I got a laugh from down in the sales team. The URL...
The drug takers.
Exactly. Wow. Bit close to the bone. The URL is http://melbourne.squaresoundfestival.com. Now, let's talk about what we've been playing, as is customary at the top of the show. And we've got to talk about it. It's the game of the week, if not the year so far.
Yeah.
South Park Stick of Truth.
Yes.
Which,
Big round
Jim,
of
you haven't
applause.
played yet, but
I
you
haven't
have
played
picked
yet.
it up. It's just come out today in Australia.
I just got it. I'm very, very excited.
Yep.
I almost feel like I should be holding the Cartman.
Oh, yeah, the little Cartman there.
He is adorable. God, I love him.
Yeah.
Have I ever said before, like I've always said I never want to have a little boy because I'd just be terrified that I would make him be exactly like Cartman.
Just
Really?
feed him a lot.
Yeah, just make him really fat and obnoxious. I just love him. He's my favorite fictional character ever.
Wow, really?
No, that's a big call, isn't
well,
it?
you can't back that up. But
It wasn't even in Deadly Premonition.
but yeah, Luke, you played the first sort of hour and a half to 2 hours. I've played about halfway through the game. And, I mean, we've sort of spoken about this off air, but even if you're not like a big South Park fan, or maybe if you've sort of lost touch with the show, because it's been going for so long.
Yeah, well, that's totally me. I know it's you as
Yeah,
well.
same, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't... I mean, it's not through indifference, because I think South Park's still funny. Like, I still catch bits and
Still
bobs of it,
topical.
but I just haven't caught up with it. And it's just such a... I've been away from it for so long now, I need to commit to catching up, basically.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I haven't been putting the time into it as I did in the earlier
Yeah.
seasons, but every time I see it, it's still very funny. It's managed to stay relevant and clever, which is everything I've heard about the game as well. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, like we said, yeah, I haven't kept up with it at all either. But it's just it lampoons so many sort of video game tropes, and I mean, to be honest, there's probably a lot of in-jokes that are just flying over my head because I haven't kept up with the show. But there's so many jokes, like full stop, that it's kind of never a dull moment. The other thing I like about it is that because for those that may not know, it's a turn-based RPG, which is not something I traditionally play. I know that you don't either.
Totally.
But it totally smooths out the normal kind of like grinding associated with that kind of genre. Like you never really... I mean, I guess you could say maybe that it's a bit too easy, which is fine. Like, they're not really a game that you're going to play for the challenge.
I've read
Yeah,
it's
I
a bit
think
RPG light, so
Yeah.
it has RPG
Yes,
elements,
yes,
but
yes.
it's not necessarily one of those hardcore RPGs that you have to do the grind in, which
Yeah.
I guess works for people like you who don't like that.
I mean, there's different kind of grinding in it. For
Right.
sure, a lot of sort of around the anal region, although maybe not in the Australian or European versions.
no anal grinding. Australians say no to anal grinding, okay?
Yeah. Well, we say maybe. We try it at least once. But yeah, so like you never like come up against a boss that just wipes out your party instantly, and you've got to go away killing rats in the sewers or whatever. Although you do go down to the sewers and kill rats, that is part of the game, but it does it in a hilarious way. And it is cool how the summoning spirits are like Mr. Hanky and other sort of characters like that. Like, it's pretty funny.
What class?
It's one of the funniest games.
What class are you guys playing as?
Well, when I played it through a week and a half ago, see, I got it yesterday. I haven't picked it up again yet. But I played it through as a warrior. But from what I understand, there's not a great deal of difference between
Yeah,
That's
classes.
one I've read too.
I'm playing as a mage.
Yeah,
I almost played as the Jew.
I'm obviously going to go Jew,
Yeah.
obviously.
yeah.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be huge difference. I mean, obviously your attacks look slightly different, but it's the same. Yeah, it's not that deep in terms of like skill
Right,
trees
yep.
and things like that. Although, I mean, you can sort of customize your character to some extent. But yeah, it's impeccable. Like I struggle, apart from the fact that maybe it's a bit too easy, which is probably a valid criticism for some people. There's not really anything else bad about it. It's awesome. Like,
Yeah, I just was taken aback at just how funny it was just straight away. And just how snappy the dialogue is, and how, like, we chatted about this in the video that we put up on the site
with
recently.
Lucy,
but just how it's one of those games where they seem to have thought of everything, and that's something that I really admire and appreciate when you play a game and you go to do something and it's already been thought about. Mm-hmm. So when you try to talk to Cartman, I'm talking about stuff that happened in the first 5 minutes of the game, basically here.
Yeah.
But you could try to talk to Cartman's mum, and Cartman like just waves you off. Basically, he's like, "Don't talk to her; she's not part of the game."
Right.
Or you talk to some of the kids out in the backyard in Cooper Keep, and you run through all the dialogue that's been recorded for them, and instead of instead of Obsidian just recycling the dialogue around in circles, they cut it off with the kids like, "That's all, Cartman. That's all the lines Cartman gave me." You know what I mean? So it's everything's kind of really well thought out. which I
Yeah.
admire.
So they just sort of end it rather than it looking cheap and repetitive.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
but the way it sort of parodies the RPG tropes, but then I don't know.
It's awesome.
It's
And
just really clever.
it is.
It's a clever game, also funny, and that's kind of a combination that you don't get very often at all.
No, and it looks immaculate. I mean, like,
Oh, yeah.
as you said, it's kind of indistinguishable from the TV show, and not just because it's been recreated so well, but because there's, or at least on the PC version, which I've been playing, there's never any kind of pop-in or like, graphical kind of glitches that takes you out of it. Like, you're always kind of absorbed in South Park, and obviously you're playing a video game, but yeah, it never kind of breaks that kind of the presentation that mimics the TV show so well. So, bottom line, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play it.
Very good. Yeah, can't wait to play it. And the other good thing about it, it's not on Xbox One or PS4. So there's still no reason to play with that console. Also not on Xbox One or PS4 is Don Bradman Cricket, and it never will be, let's be honest. Well, maybe Don Bradman Cricket 2016.
2018?
2018.
Yeah.
Let's not overestimate it. But Don Bradman Cricket is surprisingly, rock solid.
Yeah.
Pretty good. We played a near final build yesterday.
Yep.
Its release date's still kind of up in the air. They're kind of still sort of going through the final processes involved with that kind of stuff. But it should be within the next few months, I think. But yeah, the game, as we've said, it's kind of as polished as it could possibly be. Like when you look
for
at
a game called Don Bradman
no,
Cricket.
No. Like, well, for a cricket game, made in Australia by a relatively small team with a meager budget and so on. But when you compare it to Ashes cricket.
I compare everything to Ashes cricket, like just in life in general.
How are you going in your life? It could be worse.
Yeah, it could be Ashes cricket.
I could have been pulled from steam.
Yeah, that burger was okay, but fuck, at least it wasn't Ashes cricket. Yeah.
No, but I've had no idea what kind of budgets were involved with either game, but it's clear that
I think all the money on Ashes went to the licensing
and or mismanaged. Whereas Don Bradman cricket, they may have had a small pot of money, but they're sort of wringing the value out of every dollar that they've put into that game. And you can obviously pick at it with some of the presentational sort of like the rehashing of the commentary and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but the core of the game is really good.
Definitely, I think, and people will because people. You kind of, particularly now with the next generation upon us now, and you're sort of playing stuff like NBA 2K, whatever up to. So people are beginning.
Yeah, how does it compare to NBA 2K14
we'll make a comparison video on IGN.
Yeah, we'll put a comparison video. Yeah. We'll include Ashes to be fair as well. So.
Yeah. It's somewhere between Ashes cricket.
Somewhere between Ashes cricket and NBA. Yeah. So people sort of start to get accustomed to that, and they start to expect it, regardless of the circumstances under which the game was developed.
Yeah, people buy a game and they don't think about it.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for the developers in a lot of ways, but yeah, you're right. You play it and you're like, yeah, this certainly looks a bit old. It looks a bit crusty in certain areas, and people are doing their best with the likenesses through the player creator, which
Academy,
people which began have ingeniously used to get around the lack of licensing, which is all still stitched up in a game that got yanked from release and doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask. So it's Don Bradman cricket.
Yeah. He's the only licensed player.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's like it's like when you used to play the old games where.
But the genius thing that Luke was talking about is that there's a free application that you can get on PC that's been out for like 6 months that the development team put out, where you can create your own players.
Good, so I can give Mitchell Johnson a moustache again.
Yes. You can give him whatever you want to give him. And so all these just cricket fans around the world have just been recreating their favourite players from all eras, and there's like 32,000 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
That are there.
Like classic 90s teams.
And the Joker from Batman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get the game, basically, which has all these unlicensed players on it.
Yeah, are they like funny names? Like I remember playing the old NBA games where they would have names like
sort of
similar.
Yeah, like 12th Man.
Yeah, have they done that? Like, is there like, a Wayne Shawn,
Yeah. I'm not sure, because as soon as they put the disc in, it basically you can basically, as long as you're connected to the internet, you can just hit update rosters or whatever, and it'll just pull down all the best
cool.
I think all the most upvoted teams.
It appears to be that way,
like
because there's like a star system where people vote on sort of the best teams and players, I guess.
So they're essentially just subverting the whole licensing thing.
So what kind of releases are getting outside of Australia? UK, New Zealand, or is it just Australia?
India.
India,
I believe,
obviously, India.
Yeah, it's getting outside the country. It's obviously, a lot of work for a really small team to get that done. So I wish them all the best. But yeah, it's just like, it's one of those games, again, it's kind of, just like South Park, where you play it and you're like, and there's lots of little things to admire about it. So all the angles they've popped in, the replays that you get to watch, where it's like low slung cameras down by the stumps, and you can watch your sixes just coast off into the lights.
Yeah.
And you can watch back, you get the Snicko and you get Hotspot and all that sort of stuff, which is really cool.
Contemporary TV presentation.
All that stuff is really, really good. And like I said at the time when we were playing it, unlike Ashes Cricket, who were obviously, it sucks. It really sucks for them. But clearly, the game is broken, and thus it could not ship with any replay mode whatsoever, because it just couldn't possibly function, because things were happening in the game, like balls were going 3 stories into the air and being caught by players who weren't moving on the ground.
Yep.
Like, you couldn't have a replay mode in that game.
Yep.
And, these guys, on the other hand, are confident enough to let you watch back things that happen in the game in slow motion, because their systems are robust enough to let you do that. So you can see the ball moving in the air, you can see it clipping the bat, you can see it being caught. Like players that catch the ball have animations that put their hand in front of the ball. Rather than
quite high tech.
Yeah, rather than have the ball, skyrocket through the sky and then be caught by a man down here.
See, I mean, I guess
really am hung up on that
because I'm not like a sports game fan. I think that's the only time I would ever use a replay function.
Yeah,
if I could just watch stupid shit happening.
That is true. Yeah,
like a blooper reel more so than a.
Oh man, that game was just
a blooper
reel. Yeah,
the whole that's. Fuck. But yeah. I was pleasantly surprised.
Same. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Especially cricket popularity.
We had
a great match, Luke and I, which you will see on IGN.com shortly. But yeah, cricket popularity at an all-time high now in Australia and at an all-time low in England, perhaps. But they'll sell some copies somewhere, hopefully. Let's move on to you, Jim. Last time we all were pubcasting, you were talking about your love for True Detective, the HBO series, about to wrap up.
Yep.
The first season.
Just quickly before we go on any further, I have to
Is there breaking news?
I have to acknowledge this because there's a camera here. Someone in the office has put on Pharrell and I can't stop dancing.
Oh, right.
And I just realised that this is being filmed, so I'm sitting here like... But no one.
Well, that's going to keep this video off YouTube.
But no one listening to this can hear Pharrell, so I just look like a crazy lady.
We'll put the
here.
Benny Hill music on.
True Detective. So
let's. I've caught up to it since the.
You have. You were always my favourite.
Luke has not. So we can't talk about, and of course there'll be a lot of listeners who probably haven't watched it yet. We can't talk about the story in detail, but it is. Fantastic.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Otherwise, we couldn't be friends anymore. So there's only one episode to go at this stage now.
We'll probably would have aired by the time this podcast is out. Maybe.
It will. It will.
So the story will be at its end.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such an interesting way to do it. I mean, I know it's not the first television show to ever just have like a one-season story arc, but it's just so cool that they've got to wrap it all up, and just the speed that the story moves and just the turns that it takes, and you're going, holy shit, like you're really looking forward to the last episode rather than that thing where it's like, oh, it's the end of the season, I'm going to have to wait, and there's going to be a dumb cliffhanger. There's not. It's all going to be tied up in a neat little bow, and episode 7.
It might not be neat. Who
well,
knows?
it's I guess the way the show's gone, it probably won't
be tied up in a bow the way I do Christmas presents, which is just all over the shop and messy and inevitably a disappointment.
I don't believe that you tie bows or even attempt to.
I do tie bow. That's different. That's just the way that I work out.
Yeah, he's your regular Billy Blanks.
I am a BB. It's interesting you mentioned the speed of it, because now that we've been through 7 episodes, 1 episode to go, everything to play for, everything to wrap up, it almost seems like the final episode should be maybe movie length or something. Like, it seems like a lot to...
Yeah, I really feel like over the last 2 episodes they just kind of amped it up, because it was kind of sprawling at the start. You're like, where is this going?
A lot of red herrings.
But yeah, especially that last episode where it's just like, bam, this is happening, and you're just like, yes, so exciting. I'm not gonna lie, the end of the episode prior to that, I was literally sitting on the couch like this, like good.
I do feel like it's one of the... I can't really remember many other TV shows that I keep thinking about after I've watched it. I mean, there's plenty of shows that I love and enjoy watching, but not that many that I'm like sort of...
I've watched every episode at least 3 times.
Thinking about and obsessing about. Yeah, well, that's pretty obsessive. That's probably above average. But
I told you.
But there is a lot...
I'm in love with Rust and Cole. I can't help it.
Like, I think a lot of people were the same way about and I hate to draw this comparison, but a lot of people were the same way about Big Bang Theory. You just don't know how it's going to end with those.
And also, there's so many layers to it. You really need to keep watching it, because think of all of the think of all the stories, like storylines or innuendo you may have missed.
Yeah.
So what were you going to ask?
No, well, a lot of people like really obsessed about Lost, which is not. Hear me out, because a lot of people like studying each scene and looking for clues and that kind of thing. And this show does have that kind of feel to it.
People did really get wrist deep into Lost.
And then they got like really shattered by the ending, as is my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch any of it, but I know of the ending.
Yeah, I know
it
the
did sound
ending
pretty daggy.
Seemed like a little bit of a cop out.
Did it have something to do with
People should have-
dinosaurs or something?
They were all, yeah, that's right. They were in Jurassic Park,
Right.
and it
You guys are
dovetailed
lying.
nicely into
You
the
guys are
first
lying
Jurassic
to me,
Park
aren't you? This
film.
is like you explaining Rambo to me, isn't it?
How did we explain Rambo to you?
You said there was a scene where he was just walking down the road, just killing hundreds of cops.
Ah,
right.
And I was
that's
like-
Rambo the video game.
And I was like, yeah, this movie sounds badass. I'm totally going to go watch it. And then you're like, no, he only kills one person.
Yeah,
and it was kind of an accident.
yeah, it was. Yeah, you didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to quickly talk about Wolf Among Us?
I do very quickly
Part two?
because it has been out for like a month now, and it was quite a while ago that I played it. I just keep forgetting to mention it. We talked ad nauseum about the first part, and we're obviously a really big fans of the Telltale style in general. Part 2 didn't let me down at all. You're only halfway through it,
I am.
but you enjoying it still?
It's hard to say like halfway through a 2 hour.
It's true because it's only 2 hours long. So,
But like, I mean, because here's the thing. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but I had no knowledge of the. Ignore that. That was just the sound effects team.
We'll fix it in post.
I had no knowledge of the comic that the game's based on, so I didn't know. There's a certain something that happens at the end of the first episode that's then sort of quickly undone in the second episode, which I thought seemed like a real kind of cop-out, but as it turns out, that's... People who had read the comic would have seen that coming anyway.
Yeah, I mean, part of the wonder of the game for me is like being in that world. And I spoke about this when we were talking about the first episode because I am such a big fan of the comic. I love the recreation of it. And they've been talking about TV series, like you know, for ages now, and I think this is, you know, probably a better idea than a TV series, and it's just nice to have more of that world.
You haven't played it?
Not yet.
No.
You should.
Let's move on.
I'm not avoiding it.
No,
It's
I know.
just the-
I know. Let's move on to I didn't swear just then, by the way. I was saying Falcon. Let's talk about Falcon. By Falcon, I mean Batman. Because Batman, the Batman Arkham Knight, was dropped seemingly out of nowhere this week.
We
First
all
trailer.
really, really like Batman.
Can I read Tristan's sentence here?
Yep.
Batman Arkham Knight announced, featuring Batmobile, jizz.
Jizz, indeed. And that is the natural response to that sentence.
I was about to say, okay, that's the response. I was like, I missed the jizz in it.
Featuring Batmobile jizz, which is the lube you use in the engine. I don't know where I'm going with that. A lot of people have been crying out for the Batmobile in that, well, certainly Arkham City. I mean, it wouldn't have made sense in Arkham Asylum. Although it was in Arkham Asylum, but he used it to take out some goons at one point. You could drive it.
It wasn't like a...
Like, to be fair to Rocksteady, it wouldn't have really made sense in Arkham City either.
No, not the way that city was.
The beauty of Arkham City was, you know, the rooftops gliding and getting around covertly.
And not the way he ended up in there.
Or in sewers. You wouldn't be driving around. Yeah. This is true.
True. Anyways, first trailer, all CGI, which I normally despise, but this one had when it's the first trailer,
I despise
you can
it
sort of let it
too.
slide, and it gave a good sense of what was
I'm
what was
always okay to give the first trailer a pass.
Yeah,
It's just
It had
the
a
only
lot-
time I'll accept
It had a lot
Not
of
a launch
Batman in
trailer.
it, so I was okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it needed more Batman.
No.
I felt like it had
Yeah, I think
pretty
it
much
had
enough
sufficient-
The
Batman.
Batman quota.
It's sufficient Batman.
And it's obviously Rocksteady once again, rather than Warner Brothers.
Love
Montreal.
Rocksteady.
They can do no wrong. Rocksteady. They can do no wrong. Awkward pause. But anyways, the Batmobile, which can, I think, drive through buildings. It can eject Batman out to launch into sort of attacking combos and things like that. I imagine you can sort of remote control it, perhaps.
Yeah.
It looked like that. In the trailer, in the sequence.
Yeah. So
It feels really. You know what it feels like to me? It feels ready for a toy to be made out of it. Because there's already like a Batman thing that launches a Batman out of it. That I know.
Really?
Yeah. There's like remember the bat from The Dark Knight Rises?
yes.
You can get those, For kids, totally didn't buy it for myself.
Yep.
That launches a Batman out of it.
Right.
So if I was looking to buy one of these for a kid, where would I go?
Yeah, so it kind of feels really cool, and it's just got that cool Batman, old school gadget kind of thing going on.
Batmobile and Batman go together. Like,
it's interesting that the Batmobile has changed since Asylum, which it was only seen briefly in Asylum when he was delivering Joker at the start. It was more.
Oh yeah, and it appeared at one point. You used it to sort of take out some goons.
In Asylum.
Yeah. Anyways,
yeah, I don't know. I can't remember that part. Yeah, but I do remember from the start, and it had more of a. It was sort of more of a classic Batman.
Yes.
So Batmobile shape, more like, kind of reminded me a little of like the Batman Forever era Batmobile with the big fins and the sort of the hood of like an old car with like a really lengthy hood.
But this is more Nolan-esque.
Yeah, it is more Nolan-esque, more like tanky, armory, which is totally fine with me.
The Nolan Batmobile was amazing. I'm also really excited because it just gives us heaps of opportunities to do more Aussie Batman sketches.
That's true, yeah, that's true.
And,
not in this episode.
No.
Now that you mention it, we probably should have just done that. But
we don't have
to accommodate
Robbo.
To accommodate the Batmobile, the city is like, what is it, 5 times as large as Arkham City or something like that?
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Something wild.
Yeah. Especially when, like, did you see like clips of people who managed to like sort of subvert the boundaries of the actual game and like clip themselves outside of the Arkham City?
No, I haven't seen
and they were like flying, they were gliding around the skyscrapers of Gotham that were sort of always in the distance.
Right.
And even back from those moments back, which is months and months and months ago when I watched that video, you get the feeling it's like, oh man, a Batman game that is basically just set in the streets of Gotham, like Gotham proper, would be amazing. And of course, it's obvious that everyone making Batman games has been thinking exactly the same thing, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And it does feel like the logical place to work up to.
And built from the ground up for next gen and PC, I think. Do you think, given that there's the Batmobile in there will also be a Batwing and maybe a bat bike and
I was wondering if they would have like the bat bike and stuff like that, but I don't know.
Or the bat bike that comes out of the Batmobile, like the Christopher Nolan.
That
Dark
would be
Knight.
amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be cool, but you know,
I mean, I don't want to ask for too much. Like, I'm happy with the Batmobile.
You know, I'm kind of like, yeah, that'd be awesome. But at the same time, I don't mind if you don't do it. Like, whatever you do is fine.
Yeah.
You know what, Rocksteady? We'll just let you decide.
You
can do it.
I'll tell you what to do, Rocksteady.
But that would be pretty cool, though.
Totally.
The Bat Pod, or the Bat
or like
plane.
the old Batwing from like the Tim Burton one, then you could fly up to silhouette against the moon or whatever and come back down. Classic. But yeah, Batman Arkham Knight, I think it's out in October or something like that.
So long.
You know what? Actually, one thing that I thought was interesting, but just quickly before we move on, I read somewhere that this been positioned sort of by Rocksteady, apparently, as like, you know, this is going to be the epic way to close out the trilogy.
Yes.
And it's like, that's an interesting opinion to have of Origins.
Yes. It's not that interesting, really. It's I think it's a pretty common shared opinion. But I guess, you know, it's ballsy of them to come out and say it. It's it's a bit of a slap in the face to Warner Brothers, but
a little bit.
So was that game a little bit. Oh,
True.
It wasn't that bad.
It didn't seem that bad.
It was serviceable. Serviceable.
But I didn't finish it. No, I haven't finished it yet. So
if you haven't finished it yet, Luke, you're not going to. Let's be honest.
I think
it took me a while to finish Asylum.
Stop lying to yourself. You're not going back to it.
This is the truth couch.
I know. I feel like, you know, we're on the couch and there are people watching. So
this game Batman Arkham Knight's sort of instantly become my most wanted game of the year, I think.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's great that it happened in the same
one
week
up
that
there.
Stick of Truth came out. So it's
right.
like,
Yeah, just get it out
you know,
of the
I have
way.
Stick of Truth in my hand now, and when I got it, I was like, oh man, I can't remember the last time I was looking forward to a game since like Bioshock Infinite. Well, this is the most excited I've been about it. And then I was like, what am I going to look? Oh, I've already got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Although that said, I'm still excited for a couple of things that are coming.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, but this is kind of like
But I'm super excited
next-gen
for
Batman.
this one.
Yes.
I'd say, bring on this year's E3.
And totally by October, I will definitely have, a next-gen console.
Well, I mean, you have to imagine at least the Xbox One will have a price drop by then. Let's move on to we're from ecstatic news to quite a bit of a bummer. What was her title, Lou? Was she just like lead writer or director or
I think it was both those things.
writer director?
Yeah.
Of the Uncharted series, Amy Hennig, I think you have
I
pronounced
believe
that
that's...
right, has left Naughty Dog. We don't know the exact reason. There's been rumors of disharmony there, but we don't know for sure. But she has officially left Naughty Dog during the production of the next Uncharted game, which is pretty awful news.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
about to ask. Because I was about to say, like, slap me if I'm just have had like a total brain explosion and forgotten. But they are working on... You can't slap me on camera, guys.
Well, we could destroy the film.
So they are working on a PS4
Yeah.
Uncharted.
Yeah. That much is known.
Right.
But that's it.
Right.
Might take a little longer now.
Yes, definitely, you would think.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously there's plenty of talented people at Naughty Dog, but she seems to be the kind of driving force behind the series. Certainly played a large part in it. The writing is also, and the directing of it has been excellent thus far. So yeah, that is a huge blow to that franchise. Is that your phone ringing?
No, it's not.
Good. Okay, let's keep talking. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I mean,
It's sad. Hopefully, Naughty Dog recover. Hopefully, she goes and does something else somewhere awesome. There you go.
That was very pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wish the best for everyone involved.
Yeah. Right
Yeah,
on.
we agree with that.
Right on, man. Hug it out, Naughty Dog and Amy Hennig. Let's move on to something else that's been cut out. We didn't mention this earlier while we were talking about South Park.
Probably should have.
Yeah, probably should have. It's sort of annoyed some people, some fans. The censorship of South Park in Europe and Australia and anywhere else. Is it just...
Yeah, there's several different versions of South Park going out. I think
Right.
Russia has a separate version. There's obviously separate versions for Germany and Austria.
Because of the Nazi...
Yeah, which is delayed apparently.
Right.
Yeah, you can't have swastikas. It's an unconstitutional symbol.
Right.
So yeah, that's actually delayed because obviously the version of the game that they were scrubbing those out of has taken longer for them to finalise than they thought, I guess. But
Does Germany still get the anal probing?
no, I imagine they don't. I imagine they'll get the same screen as Europe, the rest of Europe.
Right.
Yep.
But just to clarify, I mean, I know that Ubisoft decided to censor it.
Yeah, this is the weird thing.
Right.
Like Ubisoft EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa, have self-censored South Park: The Stick of Truth on console. So on PS3 and Xbox 360, you get, for the anal probing sequences, you get that screen of sort of the European Union flag, and it's like, sorry Europeans, you lose out.
Yep.
This sequence has guys getting probes put in their anus, blah blah blah. It's that kind of stuff. It's very
is funny.
along the lines of what we get. Yeah.
Yeah, in and of itself.
Yeah.
Perhaps not as funny as the actual cartoon,
Perhaps
but
not.
still kind of funny.
Funny enough for a couple of minutes.
Better than something that's been cut out completely.
Yeah. Which is
sorry,
basically
yeah.
just a riff on what we get, which is the crying koala,
Crying Koala is
the
also
didgeridoos.
funny. Yep.
But I don't know. It raises a bunch of interesting questions. Like, I wonder whether, because Ubisoft Australia tried to get South Park classified 3 times. No, they had to make 3 attempts, and on the 3rd attempt they were successful.
Right.
The first attempt was as uncut. The second attempt, I think they made some sort of nominal changes to the sequence, but it still had people getting anally probed
and having abortions and things.
Yeah, was the abortion only cut out of the Australian version?
Well,
or?
see, here's the
I'm not
thing,
sure.
right? The abortion, the documents that I got from the classification board, they said that there was a minority opinion with the abortion sequence that it was couldn't be accommodated within the guidelines.
Right.
That's a minority opinion, so I
Yeah.
don't know whether that carries. South Park was refused classification initially twice on the basis of the anal probing.
Right.
Because that was regarded as sexual violence.
Yep.
And because they were asleep, they can't consent. It's all very kind of, it's all semantics, really.
Yeah.
And they obviously don't feel comfortable using the, maybe they can't use discretion when it comes to that sort of scenario. I honestly don't really understand.
Right.
Well, I do understand it, in theory, but it seems like such a stringent way to apply it when it's so obviously satire and it's just a cartoon and
Yeah.
But whatever. It's rules on paper, and it's a bunch of people who obviously don't really have a lot of familiarity with video games just doing it. Because to be fair, they did concede us we know it's South Park, we know it's satire, but that's against the rules, so we can't let it happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
It's not like South Park gets a free pass just because it's South Park.
Yeah, so I guess it's the problem more is with the guidelines.
With the guidelines and the system in general.
And why they still have that sort of criteria,
Right.
which made it through the sort of several revisions back when they were getting the R rating in. That's kind of a different debate. That's just unfortunate for South Park. But what I wonder, sorry, and it's taken me a long time to get to this point, but what I wonder is, as a fellow PAL territory, and a small one, to be fair,
Pal
at that, as PAL pals, as pals of the rest of the PAL territory, I wonder if UB had been UB in Australia had been successful in getting South Park through on, say, the second attempt, and the board were like, yeah, you know what, we'll deal with the anal probing, it's fine, you can have it. That we would have just ended up with the European version anyway, because we don't what benefit would have really been had out of for Ubisoft out of sort of making a bespoke version of South Park just for Australia with the stuff still in it.
What?
It's I know we're getting one anyway with those sort of scenes. Sorry, those screens that we get, but they're obviously just traded out for the European ones. I can't imagine there's any other difference.
No.
What version does New Zealand get, though?
I think they get ours.
Sorry, New
that
Zealand.
is not. They're not going to like
They're
that.
gonna hate us.
They are not.
But to be fair,
They're going to see that koala and they're going to
Yeah,
be like, what the
I don't know because I don't have a New Zealand version of the game. But because in most cases all the third party publishers and the first parties down here sort of they do stuff in New Zealand as well.
Mhm.
So I honestly don't think they get a different version of the game.
No, seems unlikely.
Yeah, unless maybe they get the European. I honestly don't really understand. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've played the quest where you're on the spaceship with all the forced anal probing. I guess there's no. There's no unforced anal probing. Maybe, I guess if you could...
Mr. Slave was okay with it.
Right, yeah, okay. Anyways, so I've played that stretch of the game in the censored Australian version, and it does, kind of sap the koala screens are funny the first couple of times, but when there's 5 of them, which there are in that stretch of the game, the whole quest basically just... You're just sort of waiting for it to be over.
Yeah.
It completely...
Do you think it
sucks
almost
all
would have
the
been better if they just kind of cut that part out? Is it important to the story, or...?
I think it's a good statement to make. I think it's worth just leaving it there.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know that it's important to the story. Well, it is important to the story. I tell a lie. It is. It's quite crucial. But yeah, it does totally take the kind of sting out of it. I haven't played the abortion sequence or anything. Although I was reading a friend of mine on Twitter who's in the UK, so obviously had the censored version as well. And he was saying that because he couldn't play the abortion sequence, later on in the game, you supposedly have to, spoiler alert, you have to perform an abortion, which is in the censored game. But because you haven't seen the previous one, you don't know. That sort of acts like a tutorial.
All right, so you don't know how to do an
So
abortion.
you don't know how to do an abortion, and it's like an instant fail, I think, in the game if you can't do it. And he was getting kind of frustrated.
It's so odd that one abortion scene is edited out and another abortion.
It is, isn't it?
The scene where
I mean,
you're
I haven't
Very
played up to
strange.
the bit, so I don't
actually
know.
performing an abortion. So if you're in control of the abortion, it's okay. But
I don't know.
all right,
It's
very odd.
Yeah.
Politics. Abortions.
Politics. Abortions, right? Yeah.
Am I right?
We've all been there. No.
No.
Let's not get dark.
But it's not censored on PC in Europe.
But it is censored on PC here.
Yeah. So not censored on PC in Europe, is censored on
See,
console.
that's just odd.
Peggy have come out and they're like, hey, don't blame us. We didn't tell them to censor the game. It's like, we don't have the power to tell you to censor the game. We just... Because I think they're ratified of several countries. Like, several countries sort of use PEGI ratings as like a legally binding kind of system, but most of them it's just a recommendation.
Right.
So yeah, they haven't gone to Ubisoft and say, no, you can't do that in the game. They don't have the power to do that.
I did, because I got it on PC, and I kind of expected it was just going to be uncensored, awesome, like anything goes on Steam kind of thing. But yeah, no.
Master Race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Still, totally awesome and worth playing. Crazy old Hideo Kojima. Crazy old Koji. No one calls him that. Says that the Metal Gear, the Phantom Pain, is over 200 times bigger than Ground Zeroes. That's pretty big. That doesn't necessarily mean it's 200 times longer.
Does that mean it's going to be $4,000?
You pay per square inch. It's like carpeting.
Because if Ground Zeroes is going to be like $50 or something like that.
It is going to be $50 in Australia.
Yeah.
No, evidently I think it's just going to be full price, $100. But if and when it comes out, which I don't know when it's coming out. When is it coming out?
I don't know.
Not this year, surely.
Yeah. 200 times bigger than Ground
Nothing
Zeroes.
needs to be that big.
Nothing needs to be 200 times bigger than anything.
No, it does. It really doesn't. Like,
I don't know
I'm
maths,
sorry.
but-
You're going to be playing this game for the rest of your fucking life.
He says that he doesn't. Yeah, he thinks people just won't finish it.
Yeah, I know. It's too long to finish. That's
So
what
it's
like,
Tetris, basically.
What
He's
do you-
making Tetris. You can't finish
the
it.
main difference is Tetris is a lot of fun.
True
so,
that,
you know,
sister. Love me some Tetris.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I like it. I admit that I'm not a big Metal Gear fan. Used to be. Love the first Metal Gear Solid. But it's kind of weird, this whole Ground Zeroes Phantom Pain thing. I mean,
But it just sounds like he's just making it really big because he can.
yeah, and a lot of people are sort of describing Ground Zeroes as like the most expensive demo, which I guess is a title previously held by like Gran Turismo Prologue or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that even those games had more content than some standalone racing games.
Right.
But yeah, this Ground Zeroes thing still confuses me a bit, like as to why it exists as a standalone thing at such a kind of semi-full priced release.
I mean, is it like they're trying to
It's a couple of hours long, like
trying to recoup some of their losses or something in the development of Phantom Pain or something? Just
I don't
sliced
know,
off a bit of Phantom Pain. And
I don't know. I almost feel like it's advertising. You know, it's just we'll
Like
put
a
out
demo.
this. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, people don't buy gaming magazines with discs with demos on the front of them anymore.
that's why I got out of the biz.
they really don't.
Yeah. I was like, what? You got out because people? No, can you even get them anymore? Oh God, they were good.
The magazines?
I love demos.
Or the demos?
Demo discs.
Oh, the demo discs, they don't. No, they don't.
Well, that's why you got out.
They don't even
There's
make
no more
demos
demo
anymore.
discs.
Yeah.
That's right. You try and find a demo on Xbox One. You try it.
Yeah, do it. Try it. Try it right now.
I don't know.
It's okay. I don't need it.
Yeah.
I play demos. I go through like XBLA and
Yeah.
and PSN and download demos.
Yeah.
I download them. I mean, play them's a bit of a strong word, I guess. Sometimes I just download them and go, I'll definitely play that later.
Yeah.
And then I look at it and go, yeah, I never checked that out.
Anyway, good luck, Kojima.
Good luck, Kojima. But I find talking about demo discs more interesting than your games.
Yeah,
You'll probably pull it together.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he gets it done. All right, Luke. I know very little about this next story, but
I know everything about it.
Good. I thought you might.
No, I don't. No, I do.
Well,
No, I don't.
This is really confusing. Do you
feel
like you're trying to psych me out of bringing it up?
Interceptor versus Gearbox, basically. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, there's this
Tell me.
Danish developer called Interceptor Entertainment. They made the Rise of the Triad reboot. And they made that on behalf of Apogee Software, LLC.
Yep.
Which is
Apogee.
Is it?
I don't know.
When I was playing Commander Keen as a child, it was always Apogee in
I
my
always thought
mind.
it was Apogee. Yeah.
Oh, tomato.
Apogee?
Carry on. No, I don't know.
No.
Carry on, Luke.
No one says tomato.
Americans.
No one says tomato.
Surely,
Really?
some Americans.
No, anyway, go on. Tell me about it.
So they made but that Apogee Software LLC
Apogee. No, wait. What is it?
is like a separate company that sort of rose because they kind of bought the rights to the name and the catalog from 3D Realms. Because 3D Realms, the official name of 3D Realms, the legal name is Apogee Software Limited.
I didn't understand that, but keep talking.
Who began to trade exclusively as 3D Realms in the mid-90s because that was
I think you mean 3D Realms.
3D Realms in the 90s because that was their more bankable brand.
I think it's Thrud.
Thread Realms. Sorry to confuse you, viewers and listeners.
So anyway, then they infamously spent 12, 13 years attempting to make Duke Nukem Forever.
Yes. We
aware
all
of that.
remember that.
Fell into
Totally
a
worth
real bad way with Take-Two because they were being sued by Take-Two for failing to deliver the game that they spent 13 years trying fruitlessly to finish.
Yep.
Then that's when Gearbox arrived on the scene, who claimed that 3D Realms basically asked them to be the cavalry in this situation and sort of salvage this whole situation. So because Gearbox had already had an existing relationship with Take-Two, they had an existing relationship with 3D Realms because they're both in Texas and so on and so forth.
Everyone knows everyone in Texas.
That's
small town.
That's basically how that worked out.
Right.
Also, that's Gearbox's side of the story, basically.
Right.
So they prevented 3D Realms from being sued into the dirt. Helped them finished Duke Nukem by themselves. Mm-hmm. Who, and, they admitted that it was like just not in any way, shape, or form ready to go. It's just not ready.
Yeah.
So they did what they could, obviously, and it wasn't quite good enough because Duke Nukem Forever is obviously a very middling, disappointing
it's a
game.
punchline. Yep.
Yeah, it's a punchline for sure. So anyway, part of this whole deal was that apparently with very limiting circumstances, Gearbox was the new owner of the Duke IP. And so any use of it that 3D Realms wanted to make would have had to been sort of cleared through Gearbox. Anyway, then it's come out that these 3D Realms have gone to this Danish company, Interceptor, who have started to make a Duke Nukem game without informing Gearbox, who claim they own Duke Nukem, and it seems like they do on paper. And now Interceptor have bought 3D Realms since they both got sued by Gearbox.
Yep.
And they're pretty sure that they're in the right and that they can make a Duke Nukem game because they think that 3D Realms still has a residual claim to Duke Nukem.
Right.
So basically you've got one company who says, we own Duke Nukem now, you can't make a Duke Nukem game. And another company is saying, we bought the people who still have a small right to make a Duke Nukem game, so we're going to go.
I just find it funny that in 2014 anyone is fucking fighting over the Duke Nukem franchise.
Do you think that like neither of them actually want to make a Duke Nukem game, but they just don't want to let the others?
Well, no. Well,
Out of spite.
honestly, one of them is making Duke Nukem. They had a teaser. They have a teaser website.
Oh right,
It's like
okay.
it's alloutofgum.com. And it was counting
we'll
down.
bleep that. No, I'm just kidding. It was counting down.
Well, counting down to a February 25 unveil, which had already been linked to a Facebook page for a Duke Nukem game called Duke Nukem
We're
Mass
past that,
Destruction.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
We're
Unless
way
you
past
meant
that.
February 2025. Which, let's face it,
Which
quite
is,
there yet.
that's about on schedule for a Duke Nukem
Yeah,
game.
it's
So,
Not a bad point.
yeah.
Not a bad point.
that expired, and then what?
Well, now they're tracking towards possibly, hopefully announcing something in a month's time. That's what the Interceptor guys say.
Yeah, right.
But all this depends on...
Oh, good. It was them who said, hopefully not you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be... It's an isometric action RPG, Duke Nukem.
like
Tops.
Diablo.
That doesn't really feel
That doesn't sound right.
right. Like I know
But if ever there was a
Duke
time to
Nukem
change it up.
was a side scroller,
Yes.
and that was cool.
Hmm.
Then it became a third person shooter. And back in the day, back in '94, one of the defining first person shooters.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's action RPG doesn't really feel like the logical next step to me.
No.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Tristan, just quickly, can I get that water bottle opener from you? You said you had a water bottle
yes.
opener?
For opening mineral water. Let's move on. I'll just quickly. Gabe Newell, of course, from Valve, did a Reddit Ask Me Anything, but didn't reveal much. Classic Gabe.
Classic.
That's the way he does it. Treat him mean, keep him keen is his MO. But let's move on. I just wanted to quickly talk about, there was a new Xbox One update that sort of went live yesterday or overnight.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday, yeah.
And I came into the office this morning like a kid, Christmas Day, because I'll tell you why, Luke.
Okay,
Because
hit
I
me.
went running towards the Xbox One. I'd read a bit about the update yesterday. There seemed like a bunch of stuff that I don't care about, a lot of party chat improvements and what have you. But I was looking for something very specific that I thought for sure would be in there with this update.
Yep.
I thought for sure it should have been in there from day one. And that is and it wasn't in there, so I was gutted. That is the Xbox 360's ability to have the global inversion. You know, you could set your inversion to in your profile so that every game. This is for people that invert or true normals, as we call ourselves. But yeah, you know, I can't remember when that feature came in for 360, but it was a long time ago. Like it was very early in the lifespan of the 360. And when the next gen console, I thought the Xbox One would have it as a default. I thought the PS4 would have adopted it too. Neither of them do it. So every game now you have to go in and invert. And that was it seems like such a simple feature. And I don't know what the breakdown is. I don't know, statistically
I
how
love
much.
I love it when you guys
Is it
start
only 20%?
I think it's
about.
depressingly. I think it's only 20%.
We are the 20%.
I think 80% of people, when they push their
Are
stick
wrong.
forward like this,
It's lucky
like
that
that's
Baker's
looking
not
up.
here. Yeah. But yeah, so I was expecting that would be in there. I mean, it seems like such a small thing. I don't know how to design.
There's still a lot of
operating
people,
systems
though.
or- You sell
1 million copies of a game. 200,000 people want to play it right.
They have to spend 30 seconds. Well, they have to start the game, realize it's not inverted,
Screwed.
and then
Yeah.
realize it's incorrect.
It's
and
the
then
worst
fix it.
water bottle opener ever.
Sorry, yeah, I did warn you.
You did.
It's pretty bad. It's great at opening beer, so it's a shame we don't have any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I Microsoft, Sony, if you want an edge in this, a 20% edge in this next gen console war, that is how you do it. That is how you get my vote.
Boom.
Boom. But they did fix some other stuff that I don't care about. So good for people that like faster menu scrolling. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, love
We should get sort of quickly moving through the rest of this news stuff so we can get to the all-important mailbag. Eidos Montreal lays off 27 staff. That sucks. I'm not sure what they were working on. They of course made, Deus Ex Human Revolution?
Human Revolution, yeah.
Did they make Thief? They did make Thief.
Yeah.
That might explain it. Yeah, but obviously it sucks for them. Although maybe, is it just one of those things where they finished a game and they just shed some
Could
stuff?
be.
Could be one
To
of
be
those
fair.
kind of deals. It does happen a lot. Dean Hall, of course, Mr. DayZ/DayZ slash NZ's JZ or NZ's JZ is leaving Bohemia, and of course the whole DayZ standalone game behind. I'm not sure what he's doing.
Yeah, well,
he's returning to New Zealand, presumably.
Yeah, he's not. He's potentially not leaving till the end of the year.
Right. Okay.
And he's saying that he'll stay around as long as Bohemia need him, but he feels like
my work
it's
here
getting
is done.
Yeah, well, basically, it's a bit of that, really. He didn't anticipate spending as long on the project as he has, and he's going to go back to NZ or NZ, whichever one you call it, and start.
No one calls it NZ.
And start up his own studio.
That's cool. I mean, that's cool for NZ.
Yeah. Or NZ.
Yeah, I imagine their games development scene is even, obviously smaller than Australia's, which is quite small in itself. So that's a huge deal for them. And I imagine good for him moving back home. Soldiers get homesick.
Lucy
Yeah, I mean,
says
Bohemia,
it's nice there.
that's like based in Czech.
Lucy
Czech
says
Republic.
it's nice there. Yeah, but you can't trust a word that she said.
Yeah, she's from NZ.
Yeah. She doesn't even call it NZ. So yeah, I still haven't played DayZ. I still haven't played it.
No.
It's on my bucket list. This was
Well,
cool.
I mean, the standalone one is not finished yet. I mean, it's
No.
in early access.
yeah, you can get it, but
So the best version of DayZ/DayZ is not.
it's yet to appear.
It's yet to appear.
Right.
So I think
I'll
you've
wait.
still got plenty of time.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait for that.
Otherwise, you'll be like bacon. You burn yourself out on a game before it's even done.
And then they'll clear the profiles or whatever, and you'll lose all your stuff. Yeah. You can explore Jerry Seinfeld's apartment, not his current apartment, the one from the TV show, with Oculus Rift, thanks to just some dude.
Yeah,
that
some dude
recreated it.
named
It's pretty cool.
We
Greg
should have
Miller.
looked up his name. Greg Miller, not IGN's Greg Miller, but a Greg Miller. There's more than one. Just rebuilt the Seinfeld apartment just based off studying the
show. Yeah,
show
he claimed on his site that he was like, he sort of scoured Google for shots that he could use, and it's like there just wasn't really anything doing on Google. So he basically had to get the episodes and just freeze frame stuff
That's
to
hardcore.
just rebuild the
It's
entire
not a very
apartment.
big apartment, though.
No, it's not. But it took him a month apparently. But he did all the 3D modeling himself by hand.
Do you ever see inside Jerry's bedroom?
That's.
In
I'm
bed.
really glad you brought that up, because he said the bedroom apparently was the trickiest thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Because he was saying there was one episode particularly that was great for the bathroom.
Yep. The one where
Newman has to try and get a hair sample.
that one too,
Yeah.
but also the toothbrush episode.
knocks it in the toilet.
Knocks it in the
Yeah.
toilet.
Oh no,
yes.
that's a girlfriend's
girlfriend.
apartment,
That's a
isn't
girlfriend's
it?
apartment, yeah.
But doesn't she get something back? Anyway, but yeah, the bathroom.
You saw bits and bobs of the
think of,
bathroom. Like
but
Kramer had showers there occasionally.
When I think about the bedroom, when I think about any bedroom scenes in Seinfeld, it's always just two people in a
in
bed.
the bed, you see the end tables, and there was a picture on the wall.
Yeah, but
Well, according to him, apparently it was the chicken roaster episode that was the best.
oh god, I love that.
The
episode. Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, Kenny Rogers. Yeah.
That was
Kenny.
best for him for the bedroom, but he did have to take some creative liberties with it. And apparently, which is also interesting, when he built the apartment, he found that it was kind of architecturally impossible for the bedroom to be as big as it was
Right.
in the in real life. So he
Yeah.
had to take some. Yeah, but it's really cool. You can go around, you go into the bathroom, the bike's on the wall. There's that baseball picture there, and there's a little Superman figurine on his hi-fi stand, and the cereal boxes. I just thought it was really cool.
You'd have to take artistic license with the sort of living room and kitchen, where the studio audience would have sat.
Yeah, well, the wall where the TV was, and then there'd have to be a wall there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome. Like, I mean,
it's such
people
crazy.
are so awesome.
Yeah.
That they just make things like this.
It's like 16 years later since Seinfeld went off the air.
And this is such a cool use of the Oculus Rift as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's obviously not a game, but it's, just inhabiting this cool space that you've
I will absolutely
become so attached
download
to.
that when I get an Oculus Rift,
Yeah.
which I will whenever they release it.
We should totes get one.
Well, we can't at the moment because they're out of parts. Did you read that?
They're out of parts?
Yeah. Because they haven't released the consumer model yet. So,
just
but
the
they have been
developer's kit.
selling the developer's kit to anybody who purchases it.
Baker's flatmate's got
Yeah,
one.
exactly. But they're out of one of their
That's where Baker is.
one of
right
their
now.
supply
He's in
chains has dried
Seinfeld's
up
apartment. Can't get out.
for a certain part or something like that. It's got out of it's gone out of circulation. So yeah, they can't manufacture any more
Yeah, right.
developer sort of prototype kits.
Man, I hope that doesn't set things back too much.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I really want one.
Me too. Just quickly, Sniper Elite 3, which is a game a series we all love. Well, maybe. For fans of slow motion nut shots,
Exploding eyeballs.
yeah, fans of funny home videos, that sort of thing. Sniper Elite 3, the pre-order DLC announced today, it lets you assassinate Hitler yet again, and
Yet
that's something
again.
that never gets old.
No.
Shooting Hitler in the balls. So yeah, look forward to that. Is that next gen? It is next gen.
It is.
isn't
It's well, it's both.
Ah,
Well, it's the difference.
it kind of straddles the
straddles
gens,
the
leaving
gens.
its balls
next
wide
gen ball
open.
shooting.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Love killing Nazis. Starbreeze recoups 15. Oh yeah, Starbreeze. So Starbreeze bought the Payday.
Yeah, they bought Overkill
Right. Yeah.
between Payday and Payday 2 at some point. But yeah, this is just a quick story, but I just thought it was really interesting. They just announced because they just released their financial statements for the half year basically, and over the past 15 years, Starbreeze has accumulated. Like people were saying, oh, what about Riddick and Darkness and all that sort of stuff. It's like there were some great games, and I'm sure they made Starbreeze a bit of coin, depending on what royalty agreements they had with the publishers that distributed them. But over the course of 15 years, Starbreeze had accumulated roughly $14 million US loss.
right.
And then in just the last 6 months since Payday 2 came out, and to a small extent Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, and the royalties that they continue to earn from the original Payday, they have made about $14 million US.
Right. That is
Starbreeze.
quite a payday.
So it's, in 6
Two.
months they've recouped 15 years
Sorry.
of cumulative losses.
That is amazing. What a turnaround.
Yeah, so now they're going from
Unfortunately, they haven't recouped a lot of the talent that left that studio a while ago.
That is true.
Um,
Which, well, yeah, but I mean, I guess they're sort of leaning on Overkill with
Yeah.
with the Payday
That's where
franchise
the money's
now.
at,
So
yeah. That's awesome. We're about to go to the mailbag. Perhaps we should. Anything else here you guys want to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we make that noise at the same time, or were you just
Actually,
mocking me?
I do want to talk about it, just in case people aren't aware of it. There's not a lot we can demonstrate right now, even with the camera.
Well, we could After Effects it in.
We could After Effects
in post.
it in, yeah.
We
But
won't,
the Jurassic
but we
Park
could.
computer system.
Oh
which I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
was
yeah,
really
yeah,
neat.
yeah. That was very
Did
cool.
you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Speaking of random dudes making awesome things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just typing
Yeah,
it
that's
in.
pretty cool.
Access, main, system. Crazy.
That is the end of the 90th.
Or NZ.
The NZ. The 90th episode of the Pubcast and the first of Pubcast video, or whatever we're going to call it. I don't know. Thank you very much, Jem Gold.
Thank you, Tristan.
Thank you, Luke Riley.
Thank you, Tristan.
We will see you next time.
You'll see us.
Yeah, well, actually, well, yeah.
Weird.
We won't see
Weird. All right. Bye.
Bye.
you. Maybe you won't watch us again. Maybe you don't want to see this.
Yeah.